What's up, guys? It's I the Clay fan. This is my first YouTube video in a while because I've been busy with school, work, all that type of thing. So I'm gonna be recapping every playoff series until we get to the NBA Finals. But the first one I'm gonna start with is the one that's on everybody's mind already: Heat versus Celtics. Well, it was. I'm not gonna say it was a good or bad series. It was just a series. I feel like in a couple of years it's gonna be looked upon more fondly because I'm like, oh my god, game 6 and 7 was so good, blah blah blah. But like, if you're in the moment, especially now, you're gonna be like, besides games 6 and 7, those past like 5 games weren't that great. Well, you can say that whether it be injury, all that stuff, people coming in on a lineup, or just lack of consistency and offensive talent, or just defenses being too good. I don't know what it's like. Those 5 games is just blowout after blowout after blowout. That's not a great series. I feel like earlier series, even in this playoff series, even in the East, when you compare it to even Celtics versus Milwaukee, or even I'm trying to remember. Even actually Boston versus Brooklyn was a better series in my opinion. But hey, let's get into what went right for the Celtics in this series and what went wrong for the Miami Heat. Let's talk about what went right first, because I always want to give props before hating. So what went right for the Boston Celtics? I feel like even with the injuries they had to Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, and even Al Horford missing a game of COVID, they were able to plug in other players to fill that type of role. Like you had Grant Williams kind of covering for Al Horford, or when Robert Williams was out, you had like Al Horford had to play a bigger role and step up. I feel like people were always able to like have that next man up mentality on the Celtics where, okay, this person not 100% to go or can't go at all, I'm gonna step up and do something. You had Derek White having a big game, you had Al Horford having a big game, you had I'm kind of blanket. Even Pritchard had like a decent stretch. Like when timely buckets needed to be scored, you had someone on the Celtics already ready to provide. Then that allowed the stars to like open up the court a little bit more. They could operate a little bit, because in the beginning, like when your role players don't show up and it's all on the stars, the court kind of shrinks because all the focus on them, because they're like, okay, he doesn't have it going tonight, I need to focus on somebody who does. So you had the extra help, extra attention. That's why I think you had so many turnovers especially between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially in the losses, the blowouts. Like they had like 6-7 by themselves, not even as a team, and that's like really caused them these games to get out of hand when Miami was in control of the game. So I feel like when the role players were able to step up, that like cut the chances of it happening. Because the thing about the Celtics is like everybody's praising their defense. Its defense is amazing, especially like the half court defense. But when they turn it over, they like, it's hard for them to get out in transition because it's like such demoralizing turnovers. Because like there's 2 different types of turnovers. There's live ball turnovers and dead ball turnovers. So live ball turnovers is you lose the ball, like you got a block, steal, whatever, and it's still in play. Like the other team has the opportunity to run down the court and get a transition back in. A dead ball turnover is when, okay, they swat it out of bounds, or they steal it, poke it, and it goes out of bounds. Okay, you get a chance to reset, get back on defense, whatever, or even keep the ball. So what the Celtics were doing a lot is that they were kind of loose with the basketball, especially like I said, the 2 star players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So they had a lot of live ball turnovers, which allowed Miami to run out of transition and score easy buckets. Because their half court defense was amazing, but if you don't have a chance to set up that defense, it's like kind of pointless. So that's what really went on with the Celtics side of things. But they still able to pull it out with timely buckets from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And like, it was just huge, because every time Miami went on a little bit of run, they had an answer. Like Jason Tatum pull up, Jaylen Brown 3, even Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was like not as good as he was in the previous series, but he was still able to like, okay, timely bucket, playing whatever. So yeah, those just got handed to them. They played their heart out, even though they had a couple mistakes. They proved they were a better team in the series. Now, on the Miami Heat side of things, I feel like health was obviously a big factor. Tyler Hero not being able to go, Jimmy Butler suffering injuries, Kyle Lowry suffering injuries, even PJ Tucker suffering injuries. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, I feel like if you're on the court, you're playing. Like, you're there, you're going to get some criticism. Like, you get a little bit of slack, but hey, at the end of the day, you got to live and die with those results. So if you're on the court, you get what's coming. So when you're talking about the injuries and how it really affected them, you could tell after the first game or the first 2 games, when I forgot what game it was, I think it was game 3, Jimmy Butler went out at the half. okay, they were able to weather that storm, but you could tell it's going to be an ongoing problem throughout the series if they don't have Jimmy Butler at 100%. Like, in the last 2 games, he was able to show up. Like, that was Jimmy Buckets. Himmy, boy, that man, Jimmy Butler was going crazy, but his health in those 3 games, like games 3, 4, and 5, really impacted the Heat ceiling, especially in order to win the series. I feel like the Heat are very limited offensively. Like, they have this very group mentality. Like, okay, we're gonna get our buckets by hustling, go on in transition, stuff like that. But if you're going up against like better teams deeper and deeper in the playoffs, a lot of teams, well, Celtics were like kind of inconsistent with this, but a lot of teams, they don't allow you to get those transition buckets because they're very good with their offensive sets. Like, they're either gonna score or it's gonna be a missed shot. Like, it's harder to get one out transition. So that half court offense wasn't very good. Wasn't built for a deep playoff run. Like, I feel like they had a chance maybe if Tyler Hero was healthy, but I don't feel like the half court offense was good enough in order to make a championship, we gonna win the ring type of run. I feel like they need another scorer option beside like Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero, or to make like that final push to over the edge to win the championship. So I feel like when you're talking about what's next for the Miami Heat, I feel like people are overreacting to Kyle Lowry. I feel like if you're giving a lot of people slack for their injuries, you have to give him slack also, because he did show up in Game 6, even though he fouled out. Like, he overall, like, 18 points, 10 assists. Like, bro was keeping it going. So I don't feel like it's overreaction about, oh, you need to trade him, worst contract ever. I feel like you need to give him time, because not only was he injured during the series, he was injured the last series, and even during the regular season. Like, it's very hard to, like, do a judgment, okay, this is not a good fit off of an injury-riddled season. So I don't know about getting rid of him. Maybe you retool, but I think you need Kyle Lowry for that true point guard position. Then we're going to talk about somebody I don't really talk about much, Bam Adebayo. I don't know, man. Some days he look like, okay, legitimate, solidified top 5 center. Other days he looks like he's in the same category as Cat. Like, just, I don't know, maybe the moment too big, he's too scared. I don't know what it is. It's like some days he's like, okay, I can do this. Drop 27, drop 30. Other days he's like, bro, they too big for me. I don't want to do that. It's one thing to not like be on your game. Like, of course, not everybody has a perfect game every time, but not be looking at the basket, not be looking to score. It's kind of hard because you're like one of the top paid players. You're trying to be all defense, all NBA stuff type of player. You gotta show that. These are the moments where you show, okay, I'm worth this. I'm him. I'm in that conversation with Joel Embiid, Jokic, even Rudy Gobert. Them type of centers. You need to be in that conversation. So I don't know. Duncan Robinson, I don't even want to talk about him. I don't know what happened. Maybe he forgot how to shoot, because he was decent in one game. And in the other games, they just flagged out. So I don't know. He paid $90 million. So do you want to give Tyler Hero that money when you got Duncan Robinson? Basically, I don't know if he's going to be a rotation, like your rotation piece you thought he was going to be. So I don't know if you want to give Tyler Hero that money. People say, oh, they shouldn't affect each other, but you got to think about it. Unless they can get off that contract, they're going to have one of the highest payrolls. They're going to be in the luxury tax. And I don't see them getting much better than this. And I think the East is going to be better next year with another year of Embiid and Harden under their belt. Chris Middleton going to be back for the Bucks. The Nets, hopefully they figure something out. So I don't know what you're going to do with Tyler Hero's contract situation. People are talking about getting Bradley Beal, but I don't know how you pull that off unless you're trying to do a sign and trade with Tyler Hero, and I feel like that's not a big enough of an upgrade to do that, to make you like, okay, you're the favorite out the West now. I mean, out the East now. So yeah, that's my serious review on the Heat versus the Celtics. I feel like, hey, good luck to the next round of the Boston Celtics.